Back here on UFC Fight Camp, presented by Red Rooster, Dan Hooker got back in the octagon with a bang back in August at UFC 305 in Perth. A 3-1 underdog to Mateusz Gamrot. Hooker took 2 of 3 rounds on 2 of 3 scorecards, a third straight win, second straight by split decision. Now the Hangman readies to face Justin Gaethje in Vegas at UFC 313 next month. UFC lightweight Dan Hooker, been on this program a few times. Dan, you're getting to the pointy end of camp. Aside from chatting to us, what does the day-to-day look like 3 weeks out or so from a significant pay-per-view fight?
Oh, just a bit of Groundhog Day. Wake up, go to training, come home, eat, sleep, go back to training. So that's why the last 3 weeks kind of fly really quick, just because you're just living Groundhog Day. Nothing special, just same old stuff.
You say nothing special, but you did just celebrate a birthday last week. So happy belated birthday, firstly. And secondly, how do you go through camp? Do you get to celebrate a little bit? You know, obviously a couple of weeks out from making weight, or do you have make plans post-fight to kind of celebrate that?
No, I couldn't really care too much about birthdays. I'm not. It's not really going to get. My parents, which I have as well, so we don't really celebrate birthdays anyway. So I actually had my daughter was born on Monday, and then I had my birthday on Wednesday. So I think I just had bigger fish to fry.
Well, Dan, you're on a 3-fight win streak. It's been a couple of years though since you've had kind of this normal 6 to 7 month turnaround. You had the really short turnaround of the Makhachev fight, and then obviously things that you couldn't control. How does your body feel with this cadence as opposed to coming off of a longer layoff like you've had to do in recent fights?
I tend to just stay in the gym as much as I can, as long as I'm sparring, staying fit. Sparring and wrestling, I think I'm always like 90% of the way there. So, the last couple of weeks, just throwing a bit of conditioning and stuff. But, yeah, business as usual. Good days, bad days. But it doesn't matter whether you feel good or bad, you're ready to fight.
Well, how do you manage that, right? Obviously you're the type of person who's training year round, might not having as regular fights as you're used to, but how do you kind of manage not burning out, making sure you peak when you need to? Is there kind of like a system that you guys have in place to make sure that you're, kind of hitting where you need to at each stage of the camp?
Yeah, City Kickboxing's got a really smart plan put in place, which I just completely disregard anyway, and just spar and I'm old school. I'm old school. If you're ready to fight, you're ready to fight.
Yeah, Dan, I don't think I've ever chatted to you without you having a black eye, or it looks like you got like a little cut on the nose there. Prior to the Puelles fight, you had lost 4 of 5. Then boom, 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 all wins, all at numbered events. Now you're facing a former interim champion, Justin Gaethje. What do you think has changed for the results to start piling up in the positive direction again like they did early in your lightweight days?
I don't think anything's really changed. Being able to go to my gym and actually train with my team has been really helpful. A lot of those tough times were in COVID and stuff, and we're just such a lockdown country. Being in New Zealand, I don't think the American audience really understood what was going on over here. The levels of madness was going down.
Well, speaking of the Gaethje fight, obviously this is a big one. It's a 5-round co-main event. Kind of talk us through how this fight came about. Were there other names thrown out? Did you ask for this fight? Did the UFC come to you with this bout? Kind of talk us through that a little bit.
No, I think the UFC was the ones that wanted to put this together, and then kind of ask my team, ask his team, and it's a good fight, no matter which way you kind of look at it. So I think, it's just a fight that finally makes sense for everyone involved.
And Dan, you fought some guys who were keen to brawl. Justin Gaethje might be the face of that club. How does game planning differ when you have an opponent who isn't likely to run from a proper fiery exchange?
Oh, I think that's why God put me on this earth, is because to get into fist fights. So if I'm finally going to get to this fight and going to change my tune, this is what I've been calling for the whole time. And live by the sword, die by the sword is just the way that you have to approach life. So I'll go out there and it's going to go one or two ways, and it doesn't matter what happens. I'm prepared.
Do you have a bit of a vision in mind of how this one goes? Because I know you've been on record saying, you think the UFC wants one of you to die in this fight. Have you visualized this fight in any way?
Oh, I know full well, 100%, that this fight is going to end, no matter whether his arm gets raised, my arm gets raised, and then I'm going straight on a stretcher, straight into the back of an ambulance, and I'm going to the hospital. So I've come to terms that's how this night is going to end, baby. I've come to terms with that, brother. So I've embraced that. So if someone's not ready to go to the lengths that I'm willing to go to, then they're going to have a hard night.
Yeah, you say that with a smile, but I know you're not joking, because that stretcher went right by me at Spark Arena in February 2020 in Auckland when you beat Paul Felder. Dan, it is a sport of a million variables. What's something that you prioritize that you think, if it does go right, you're probably the one kicking off an enjoyable evening with a pit stop at a hospital in Vegas in the wee hours 9 March?
Yeah, I'm not too worried. If I wake up on fight day, no matter what's going on, if I look down and my left arm is attached to my body, I'm confident, baby. I know I can send any man walking the face of the planet to Mars, so I'm not worried about it.
I absolutely love your responses. And I heard you mention on a couple podcasts that there was maybe a bit of a possibility of also City Kickboxing teammate and friend Alexander Volkanovski wanting to get on the same card as you. That obviously didn't come around. Have you heard any more talks? I know you've seen him training out there with you guys, what was it, last week or the week before? So any news on potential Alex return? Because I know it's been a while since we've seen him in there.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure Alex and Kai will be on the same card. So I would have liked to, the little trio of us be fighting in April all together, but I got chucked on a little earlier. But hey, it's not the end of the world. I'll get to enjoy my fight there in March, and then hopefully be sitting cage side with a bit of a mojito, and then enjoy the fights there with the boys.
I mean, the CKB mood, man. I was there before that Felder fight. Damn near got stuck in Auckland, actually. I think it was like 8 days before the border shut. And Dan, at the time, Alex was champ, Israel was champ. You were climbing. Kai was starting to get his legs. How does the mood in the building compare now that some of those guys have lost their belts, some are trying to get back in the win column? How is the overall mood of CKB on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, well, that's the funny thing about it. It's business as usual. It was a couple of weeks ago. Israel fought there on the Saudi card. Didn't get his hand raised, and then an hour later I was in the gym training my ass off. So it doesn't matter what goes on externally. Just the train keeps rolling and the boys keep moving down in City Kickboxing.
Well, there's definitely a couple of big fights coming up. Obviously, Carlos is fighting Jan Blachowicz in London. You are fighting Justin Gaethje pending. You have all your faculties still with you. Your limbs are attached. You get your hand raised against Justin Gaethje. Is the title next for you? Is that kind of the image of where you want your career to go next post this Justin Gaethje fight?
It's pay-per-view points. So if you want pay-per-view points, you need a shiny gold belt. So I don't care who's got the belt, where, which way. I need that money, son, so I'm coming for it.
Dan Hooker, you're a joy to watch, and even more so when you're on a win streak like you are. All the best in your final preparations before Justin Gaethje. Thank you so much for making some time to chat to us today.
Too easy. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.